Joining us now, you can see him right there. He was part of Wednesday's panel at the White House. As I said, he's the director of research at the Government Accountability Institute and the author of the book, Controligarchs. My friend, Seamus Bruner, back on the show. Can I just say to you, to Nick Shirley, to Brandy, to our pal Nick Sorter, Jack, everybody that was there yesterday, I loved all the independent journalists had the president's attention, and all the lying mainstream media dogs had to be standing back here filming and airing the truth for once. So my friend Seamus, bravo. Thank you, brother. Tell me how that experience was.
Oh, hey, Dan, it's great to be with you. It was a phenomenal experience. President Trump was locked in. He was very interested. He was asking questions. We all know he is extremely busy working on things like peace deals in the Middle East. That was a kind of a surreal moment when Secretary Rubio walks in to tell him that, hey, I think we're pretty close to a peace deal. So Donald Trump still took another 45 minutes with us, even though that's another important thing.
He's a machine
to be handling.
He's a
total machine. He was asking questions. Something he was extremely interested in that I had brought up was the Neville Roy Singham connections, things that my colleague Peter Schweizer, he broke in his book BloodMoney, but we found even more cash from this China-based financier of chaos in America. So Neville Roy Singham, he's probably a little nervous right now. I mean, he's got Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna breathing down his neck, Oversight Chairman James Comer, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been making moves. So this is a whole of government approach to dismantling this left-wing chaos machine, what we called Riot Inc. And the numbers that I brought up in this round table, I mean, we're talking over $100 million. And it's not just Antifa. There are dozens of left-wing groups, radical left-wing groups. Ones in which the executives have been charged with things like domestic terrorism, like the Stop Cop City riots down in Atlanta. More recently with the Portland and the Chicago and Los Angeles anti-ICE demonstrations. I know I was on your program breaking the Chirla connections to the anti-ICE riots in LA, where they were, various people who may or may not be affiliated with Chirla were like summoning Waymo driverless cars and lighting them on fire. You can't just commit massive amounts of property damage, billions of dollars since the BLM Summer of Love and get away with it. And so Donald Trump, the entire administration, is going to put this to an end. That's what I see going on right now.
Love this.
And, when you label a so-called ideology like Antifa a domestic terror organization, it's complicated, right? Because it's not actually an LLC. It doesn't have an EIN number. There's not, which means that it doesn't have taxes. It's not like a 501c3. Antifa is sort of an ideology. And what you're seeing these Antifa thugs do now is drop that label. They're running scared. And so they're going to pop up as something else, which is why you have to follow the money and you have to go after the funders. And so what I recommended is in cases where there are 501c3s in some of these massive billionaire-backed so-called nonprofit organizations, which we'll get to the government funding in a second. In the cases where they're funding criminality, you got to yank those tax-exempt statuses.
Yes.
Because they shouldn't be able to exist as a so-called charity if they're funding chaos in our country. And then the most shocking thing I found, and we'll talk about it, was the government funding. Your taxpayer dollars flowing into this network.
That's the key, Seamus. Talk about that, because during the invasion under Joe, we of course threw Catholic Charities and tons of NGOs under the bus because there was a paper trail showing that they were supporting and paying for, down in the Darien Gap, allowing the millions of invaders to get up to Mexico and then come in, which you folks, we all paid for. Then once they got in, the houses, the phones, the clothes, the food, we all paid for. Now we're actually paying for the chaos in the streets too through these NGOs. It's insane. They need to be stripped of their 501c3, and I would throw some butts in jail.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I mentioned in the clip you played there, the Tides funding network, of course, the Soros funding network, the Open Society Institutes, the Arabella funding network. They all get a variety of government grants. They come from a variety of agencies. USAID would be a big one, but beyond that, I mean, the Small Business Administration, they got a bunch of forgiven PPP loans, like huge amounts, amounts that none of us get. and all got forgiven. They also get HHS grants, Department of Education grants, because they're going to set up a a program for how to radicalize students or something. So they're getting your taxpayer dollars, and this gets back to the whole of government approach that the Trump administration is taking. Because yes, you've got the FBI, you've got Pam Bondi and the DOJ locked in. Secretary Noem of Homeland Security was there. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche was there. Director Patel was there. They're all locked in. But then you've also got Treasury, and you've also got Office of Management and Budget. Russ Vought, the Grim Reaper.
I saw Russ.
When the government gives an NGO a grant, the government is entitled to demand all kinds of things from that entity.
Of course,
you don't just get to take our taxpayer money. You got to open up your books now. And so it starts with the agency, like the State Department through USAID would have given money. So the State Department, Secretary Rubio, has the right to go and say, hey, let's look at your books and see if you actually used that taxpayer money for the purposes that you promised, you signed a contract of, essentially to do. So you get the agency. Then you get OMB has full oversight over every expenditure. So then OMB can get involved. And then once you find the funding of criminality, bar the door, you've got DOJ, FBI, IRS, Treasury, who can slap you with all kinds of things.
Trump knows what he's doing by assembling that crew yesterday with you all so that all those department heads and cabinet members could hear from you guys directly, and then he gives them the orders. Now go root it out. Stop this crap.
The thing is he's been a victim of this government, the government being weaponized, and every lever and gear and weapon and arrow in the quiver being used against him. The only difference is he was completely innocent, and these people are totally guilty.
Yeah, no kidding. Loved seeing our friend Nick Sorter there. He brought that flag with him that he stopped those thugs, Antifa thugs, in Portland from burning, presented that to the president. I thought that was amazing. I also loved this one, and let's end on something good. I've never met her. Most of the folks around that round table have been on this program, all independent, love it. Jack used to work for us. But here's independent journalist Brandy Cruz admitting she had TDS. And the minute she stopped listening to the mainstream media, this happened.
I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier, more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes.
They always say liberals kind of look, if we can replicate that in the mainstream media, maybe in a few years, Donald Trump and the MAGA movement will get a fair shake when it comes to the media. But I won't hold my breath. A few seconds left. Seamus, you get the final word, my friend.
Yeah, Brandy Cruz, I mean, she's a total gem. I spent a good amount of time with her before and after. And if you want her on the program, I'll talk to her. I'm sure she'd be happy to.
I would love to chat with her about her transformation. Maybe we can bring a few more that, in my friend Brendan Strock's word, will walk away from that crazy Democrat left-wing ideology that's ruining this republic. But I feel like we keep winning, Seamus, and we're taking her back. God bless you, brother.